Every time Jim Miller steps into the octagon, he's making history. The New Jersey native currently owns the records for the most fights and the most wins in the UFC. This tough-nosed, soft-spoken fighter amassed a reel of highlights over more than 15 years. We tasked Miller with looking back over his impressive body of work to choose 5 of his all-time favorite bouts.
I was born to be a fighter. I was made to do this. I was made to be in this type of rough and tumble life.
I'm a big fan of Jim Miller. That kid's a savage. He is gritty as they come.
I've been able to hang around for about 14 years now thus far and make the walk to the octagon so many times. When I look back on my UFC career and I look at how many times I fought and all the opponents that I fought, it makes me proud to have gotten this far and to have been able to hang on this long.
40 fights into his UFC career, still getting it done.
It's definitely cool to have been a part of so many great events and so many great fights.
My God, what a fight.
I'm Jim Miller, and these are my top 5 fights. Coming in at number 5 is my fight with Kamaru Usman at UFC 128. That was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. On that day, my brother Dan and I were both on the main card.
Dan and his brother are a couple of savages, the fabulous Fighting Miller brothers.
The day that we fought would have been my late niece's 2nd birthday, and seeing my brother fight with a broken heart and lose.
Nate, the Great Barron.
All I wanted to do was give him a hug, and it's time for me to walk.
He is as game as they come, just like his brother Dan will fight anyone.
I had to push it down and go out and fight. Honestly, I think it was one of my best performances I've ever had.
Nice uppercut. Charlie was maybe hurt.
And I finished my opponent.
It is all over!
And I feel like I did so as quickly as I could so that I could go back and I could hug my brother. It's something that I'm never gonna forget. Coming in at number 4 is my first fight with Charles Oliveira. That was at UFC 124. I was a little bit pumped up going into that fight because there was a lot of talk and a lot of buzz around Charles.
His jiu-jitsu is top of the food chain.
And everybody was telling me, how are you gonna deal with his jiu-jitsu? And I remember thinking, like, I'm a black belt. I had this feeling like when I grabbed a hold of him, I was gonna overwhelm him with my strength.
Here we go.
I went out there and I knew he was gonna be aggressive. I knew he was gonna come at me. Got into a little bit of striking with him, pressed him, took him down.
And Miller's looking to take him down now.
And I knew he was gonna be dangerous off the ground.
Miller's gotta be very careful. Oliveira attacking from his back.
He threw up some attacks. I was able to fend them off pretty easily, and I saw the opportunity to swing for his leg and just attacked, and was able to secure the knee bar and get the submission.
It is all over! It is all over! Wow! That is a huge feather in Jim Miller's cap.
Coming in at number 3 was my fight with Fabricio Camos at UFC 168. Early in my career, I fought very intensely. As I've been able to kind of control that intensity throughout the years, the calmer I am, the more dangerous I am. I came out of the fight with Fabricio and, I was calm and was kind of feeling him out. We got into a little striking exchange.
They battle in the middle of the octagon.
And he ended up taking me down.
Camoys takes him down.
He swung with his left hand. When he did, he opened his hips up. So I swung for the armbar and curled my heels to my butt, and he stood up, and I was able to hook his ankle with my right arm. It didn't take very long for me to be able to extend my hips and get the submission.
He got him! It is all over!
I was able to go out and pretty quickly into the first round submit a 3rd-degree black belt.
Armbar finish, Jim Miller.
Coming in at number 2 is my UFC debut at UFC 89 against David Barron. It was the first time that I ever fought outside of the state of New Jersey. I ended up fighting in England against a guy who was actually ranked in the top 5 in the world at welterweight. He was a very conditioned athlete, very tough guy. I just knew I had to overwhelm him with my pace and my pressure, and I just pressed hard from the get-go.
Real good pressure from the top by Miller.
And was able to win a lot of the striking exchanges, use my wrestling to take him down, and dominate the ground game as well.
He's real confident with his top game.
I felt him start to slow down a little bit and was able to take his back. got my arm under his chin and was able to secure the rear naked choke.
That's deep. That's it. It is all over.
I was able to get a submission of the night bonus in my UFC debut, which was extremely impactful on my life and my career. That fight definitely set me up to compete with the best in the world. My number one pick is my first fight with Joe Lauzon at UFC 155. And I was fighting a guy that I'd been super friendly with, since the beginning, and finally had the opportunity to share the octagon with him, and we went out and put it all out there. I knew that he was going to come at me hard for the entire 15 minutes.
Lauzon forever game, keeps pressing forward.
There's no quitting him, and he definitely proved it.
You can't question the heart of Joe Lauzon.
The first round of that fight, I kind of dumped everything into it. I ended up landing an elbow, and once that first one landed, it was just game on to just keep throwing them.
He's going with the elbow now.
And I remember hitting him and him opening up.
Huge cut on the grill of Joe Lauzon.
My game plan originally was not to take it to the ground. And then in the second round, I was exhausted. So I ended up, out of instinct, shooting and taking him down. And I was trying to pass him out so that I could set up a submission. In the process, he ended up bumping up into me, and I kind of fell back to try to get a choke. And it potentially cost me the round on the judges' card.
Strong close to round 2 for Joe Lauzon.
During the minute break in between rounds, I can still hear the crowd.
The crowd certainly appreciating the effort here of both men.
With short time left on the clock, I knew how tired he was, so I would press forward, and me stomping forward, exhausted, he threw up the heel hook.
Joe Lauzon dropping down for a heel hook.
I was able to shrink my knee pretty quickly, and it wasn't too much of a danger. And then as we scrambled up together, he wrapped up my neck, and with how sweaty and bloody we were and exhausted, it wasn't really close at all. Rode out the position and didn't want to get myself any deeper.
What a fight.
I remember standing up after the fight, hearing the roar of the crowd.
That got a standing ovation from the crowd here.
That was a special fight. We both put on a gritty performance. Felt really amazing to be a part of that. The appreciation that we got from the fans that night was amazing. That's one of the fights that I feel that should definitely end up in the Hall of Fame.
That was just an absolutely fantastic fight.
I'm Jim Miller, and those are my top 5 fights.